Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today we are diving into the book See You at the Top by the legendary Zig Ziglar. And this isn't just a book, it's really a blueprint for a totally different way of thinking about what success even means. Right off the bat, Ziglar hits us with a core idea of the entire book. And honestly, it's a real game changer. It's this profound, almost backward sounding philosophy. Success isn't really about what you get, it's all about what you give. And it's no exaggeration to call him the granddaddy of motivation. This book, which he first self-published way back in 1975 after, get this, 39 rejections, it's basically the source code for so much of the motivational content, the podcasts, and yeah, the hustle culture influencers we see all over the place today. And its influence is it's undeniable. We're talking over 1.7 million copies sold. So this isn't just some forgotten relic collecting dust on a shelf. It's a foundational text that has literally shaped the thinking of millions of people for generations. So Ziglar frames the entire journey with a really simple but powerful metaphor. Success isn't an elevator you can just hop on. He says that elevator is permanently out of order. You have to take the stairs. So let's look at the first few steps of that climb. So the climb begins not with action, surprisingly, but with your foundation. The first two steps are all about building a solid base to support the entire trip up, and it all starts internally with the way you see yourself. Ziglar had this brilliant, unforgettable term for the problem, stinkin thinkin. And you know what that is? It's that internal garbage, right? That negative voice telling you that you can't, that you're not good enough. His first prescription? Get a checkup from the neck up, and you got to clear that stuff out. And this is where Ziglar makes a critical link. Your self-image isn't just about feelings. It sets the absolute ceiling on your achievements. You literally cannot outperform the person you believe yourself to be. So fixing your outer world has to start with fixing your inner narrative. But that's only half of the foundation. The second part of that foundation is how you interact with other people. Ziglar's advice is so simple. Be a good finder. It means you actively look for the best in people, your colleagues, your family, your friends. This isn't about being naive. It's about building a network of trust and goodwill that will actually lift you as you climb. Okay, so with that solid foundation in place, it's time to set your direction. Steps 3 and 4 are all about programming your internal GPS so you know exactly where you're headed. Ziglar was an absolute fanatic about goals because he knew that vague wishes are just useless. His formula is all about clarity. You got to write it down, make it specific, break it into daily actions, and then review it constantly. Because as he famously said, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. And that brings us to attitude, which is really the engine of the whole operation. I absolutely love this quote because it just perfectly captures Ziglar's philosophy. Attitude isn't some personality trait you're born with. It's a daily practice. It's the conscious choice you make every single morning to find the positive and focus on what you can actually control. So you've got your foundation, and you have your direction. Now it's time for the hard part, the actual climb. And these next two steps, they provide the fuel. Now this next idea is one of the biggest takeaways from the entire book, and it completely flips a common belief on its head. We often wait to feel motivated before we start working, right? Ziglar says that's completely backwards. Motivation isn't the cause of action, it's the result. You have to start pumping that well, doing the hard work first to prime the pump. Only then will the motivation and results start to flow. Finally, the sixth and, frankly, the most crucial step, desire. This is the deep, burning why behind everything you do. When your attitude falters, when the work feels pointless, it's your desire, that clear vision of the life you want, that keeps you climbing. Without it, the other 5 steps are they're just academic exercises. So, that's the climb. But how does this all hold up today? I mean, the book was written decades ago. Does this advice still land in our modern, complex, and let's be honest, often pretty cynical world? The wisdom around a growth mindset, putting service over self, and controlling your internal narrative, that stuff is absolutely timeless. But it's also fair to look at it with modern eyes. Critics will point out that the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality can sometimes overlook real systemic barriers. And in a world that's kind of exhausted by performative positivity on social media, the relentless optimism can sometimes feel a little out of touch. Ultimately, the power of this book is its call to action. It isn't just meant to be read, it's meant to be lived. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. Looking at those 6 steps: self-image, relationships, goals, attitude, work, and desire. Which single step will you focus on climbing this week? Thanks for joining us on this climb. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.